I am a temple who walks the earth. My womb is fertile for giving birth. I am a woman planted in truth. I grow my branches from sacred roots. You are the form of who you want to be. So come untethered, your soul is free. We're here to heal, we're here to thrive. We are a dream who's come alive. We light a candle, our hearts awake. Illumination for God's sake. A revelation for God's sake. An evolution for God's sake. An inspiration for God's sake. 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 For God's sake.
And so it is. Hello, Essence. Welcome back to Wild Soul Medicine Radio. I'm Jody England. And today we are here. We are here in presence. We are here once again receiving medicine of losing our plan and finding our essence. And so for those of you on my list, you probably received the email telling you what today's topic was going to be, which was talking about other people's energy in your space. And perhaps we will talk about that another day, and maybe we'll get to it today. I don't know. We'll see where the divine takes us. But in the meantime, a new thing has come forward, and the new thing is really all about surrender and turning the reins over to the divine. And I can feel the emotion well up in me even as I start to talk about that. And so I trust that if you were here thinking you were going to get some other medicine, that actually this is the medicine you need. And it's certainly the medicine that I need. So we're going to be exploring this tender, wild, beautiful place together today and seeing what we can uncover around that. And so I feel compelled to actually open the space today with a prayer, which I've not done before, but there is a prayer that's wanting to come forward. So I invite you to just close your eyes and settle into your heart space. Eternal Essence, may it be with your love, your light, your blessing, and your awareness that you bring your presence to this space today, that you use my voice to speak the words to the heart of those who need to hear it, that you support us in our feelings of safety and surrender as we let go of the illusion of control, as we settle into trust and allow you to guide us so that we may be more fully present in the truth of who we are this lifetime and beyond. And so it is. Yeah. So just a little background of what has brought this topic forward is I'm in the process of creating an event at my house on solstice. And I've been in a lot of control around it. Have been doing a lot of energy work on having it manifest in the way that I want it to manifest. And have consistently been getting guidance along the way about surrendering to the divine and letting the divine take the wheel and visiting the well of the divine who wants something to happen here. And, as I've mentioned before, control is really one of the big sticking points for me. It is the thing that I came here to play with this lifetime. It's my biggest issue and my most recurring medicine. And so there's a way that when I get those nods from the universe, I take them in a little bit. So it's like, oh yeah, there's that control thing again. And then I think about handing the reins over, or I think about, I'll need to meditate on that. But I don't actually do it. I don't actually ever let go of the reins. And so I ultimately end up still wrestling for control and then wondering why the universe isn't supporting me or showing up. And in reality, I'm not allowing that to happen because I've got the death grip on the reins and I've got the horses running 100 miles per hour in the direction I think we need to go. All the while, Source is patiently waiting for me to slow down and open. And so this morning I was doing some energy work with Viv, of course, some energy work around actually letting go and actually partnering with the divine and really handing over in a real way, not in an imagined, not in a contrived, like, oh, okay, here's me letting go of this. And so now what do I do? Because that's not really letting go of it, but truly in a bowing to the service kind of a way. And so it was beautiful. And there were lots of ahas around what that looks and feels like. And I think that we may return to that. So I can feel some of you may want to know more about how that looks or how you do that. So I think that's going to be the gist of what we'll actually play with together here. But so just to kind of show you how it unfolded. So that was a beautiful space, unrelated to the radio show. And then, we had already, because we had to plan yesterday for what the email will say and what the topic will be. And so we put that together. And then as it came time to get closer to the radio show, I got a call from Viv, and her son had some kind of an accident at school. And she has to go get him. She's not sure. I mean, it sounds fairly serious, but we're not, we're hoping that it's not a big deal. And that was about 15 minutes before the show started. And as you know, she manages the dashboard, she manages the callers. And so there goes the plan, right? There goes the plan. And so, we can send Viv a little prayer and Ryan a little prayer and wishing them all well and safety and health. And we'll keep you posted. I'm sure it's going to be fine. But, that occurred. And I also found myself not really wanting to show up to the radio show before that. I was like, yeah, okay, I'm going to kind of phone this in today. I'm not that into it. I've got some other things going on that are calling my attention more. And I wasn't feeling that connected to the topic that we had put out. So then Viv gets the call. She lets me know she's not going to be here. And I use that as an invitation to take a pause, right? So what is trying to happen here? What is the universe trying to tell me? And of course, that's what I just did in my meditation is if there's something that you need me to do, make it very clear. Because sometimes I'm a little slow and I'm a little dense. And so I don't always get it, right? So immediately here's a signal, like something's out of whack. You can't take callers. You can't phone in the show. You can't do it the way that you've gotten really comfortable in doing over these last weeks. So I drew a card to see what was up. And of course, it was all about attachment and letting go of old patterns and behaviors and being willing to open to the present moment. So literally, I'm sitting here, the minutes are ticking down to the show, and I'm just meditating on what wants to happen. And I felt the divine just come in. And so I said to the divine, what would you have me do? And the message was surrender to me. Let me take the wheel. And for those of you who know me, it's against everything in my body to be like, really? But we already had a plan and we told them what we would do. And I don't want them to feel confused and, all of those pieces. And then there's also the knowing of course, it's your show. So that's what we're doing. And the divine will speak about what the divine wants to speak about. And, so we're just going to see where that goes. I don't think we're going to be taking callers because I don't actually have a way to do that unless Viv gets back. So in the meantime, we're just going to, I'm going to deepen in and see what the divine would have me say to you about letting the divine take the wheel, what medicine you need to hear. Yeah, so I'm going to speak a little and then we're going to do an energy exercise of actually connecting you with the divine. So there are lots of reasons why we don't surrender. And they're very good human reasons. They're related to past fears, old experiences, our taming, things we think we know about the world, stories we have about the divine. And, it's really such a reflection of our humanness and not at all a reflection of the divine. And, on one level, we all know that, connecting to source and letting the divine lead us is a good idea, right? And of course, that's going to be the truest form of everything. And yet, very few people actually consistently do that. And even if you think you do it, I would invite you today to take a deeper look and see if there really is a way that you are still holding on, even though you're telling yourself you've let go, right? So one of the ways you can tell that you're still in the driver's seat is if you're in the mind. So the mind wants to jump to the doingness, the logistics, how do I, and then what, and then this, and then that, right? That's all ego, mind, it's really all the same thing. So for example, when I'm going to use this journey, actually, I'm going to use this event that I'm putting together as a metaphor for what it really looks like. So I start out with a beautiful intention and here's who I'm going to invite. And I read the energy and, I create a beautiful, energetic pulse of what it is I'm attracting people into. And then I take what looks like and feels like inspired action. So call some people, create a little web page. I send out some emails. And then it's sort of like, the law of attraction story they tell where you plant the seed, your intention, and then you keep digging up the seed to see, is it growing? Did it sprout? Is it about to come up? And every time you dig it up, of course, you're stalling the process. So, I laid a beautiful foundation and then it didn't go the way I was expecting. I didn't have people sign up as quickly. They weren't the people that I thought were going to come. Then my energy got a little out of whack. And, so this is the way our creations work, right? And if we're not careful, we can translate that into meaning that source isn't there for us or that we got abandoned or, that we're not in touch or whatever your paradigm is that you would lay over that. You would, you might translate that into that and then take that as evidence for why you shouldn't turn it over to source and why you have to get more into overdrive, right? Maybe I didn't think of the right thing. Maybe I need to add this. Maybe I need to do this or change this or call this person, right? So then we go into even more separation from the divine instead of listening more and asking curious questions like, I wonder what this is about. Or what does this mean? Or what would you have me do? We grab the wheel and we're like, wait a minute, I know how to do this. I've done this before, or I'm sure this is going to work. Let me just do it the way that, I'm familiar with, which is the ghost card, right? That's the old patterns, the hungry ghosts. And, it takes a lot of courage to surrender. It really, really does. To me, surrendering feels like dying. Because every single time I do it, I feel terror. And I feel like I'm doing the Nestea plunge off the highest cliff. And I don't know if there's water or rocks below. Like that's what it feels like to my system. So it is not easy for me. And I would venture to guess if you've ever fully surrendered, you've experienced the same thing. So, that was the space that I was in going into my meditation this morning. And it's like I had received so much evidence that I had to do this surrender piece that I was like, okay, and also the event is only a few weeks away. So I'm like, really, Jody, are you going to actually settle in and do this? Or are you going to keep talking about needing to do it? Right? So, in this beautiful space, what I did is we invited Source in, and then we just played. We played in the space of getting ourselves to surrender. And so one of the very practical ways that works for me to access an energetic of surrender is to physically put my body in a position of surrender, of humbleness, because most of us are so attached to the masculine energy that we're completely up in our head, And so what I like to do is actually get in a position where my head is lower than my heart. And so that might look like me getting on my knees and then putting my forehead actually on the ground. So I'm kneeling with my forehead down on the ground. And then sometimes after, because it takes me a while, even when I get in that position, I fight it, I still fight it. I'm like, great, I'm in surrender position. Now, what is happening? Did I get a message yet? What was the message? What do I do? When do I do it? Right? Powerful, powerful mind. So then sometimes I just actually lay flat out on my belly with my head on the ground. And I just do it as long as it takes. I just lay there calling in humbleness, allowing surrender to move through my body. And you're welcome to try it now if you're in a position where you can do that without feeling stupid. I mean, actually, if you feel stupid, that might be an even better invitation of why you should do it. But yeah, I invite you into that position of surrendering your power, surrendering your knowingness, surrendering the feeling that you have to do something in order to be safe, to be loved, to be whole, to be anything other than you are. Right? So find that position. And if physically that's not possible for you to do, you're maybe even just sitting on the floor. It will put you closer, right? Will put you closer to the earth and closer to humbleness, right? So once you get in that position, go ahead and just receive a couple breaths. And just feel your breath moving in your body. Feel your humanness, right? The soul in a body, this soul that believes it's separate from God. And don't even try to change it. Just in this moment, say hello to it. And then notice if there are any emotions that are present. Often for me, as my forehead touches the ground, I feel grief. I feel tears. I don't always even know what they're about. But if you're feeling them, allow them to happen. And just be with it. And then you may also notice feelings of irritation or wanting to run or wanting to get the heck out of here. Or like, why is her voice so annoying? Or why is this exercise so stupid? So just say hello to all of those things too. Those are just survival mechanisms. That's the mind saying, get out of here, don't let go. We'll die if we're not in control. I see you. Yeah. And then, from the space of quiet presence, invite the divine in. Invite the divine to join you right in your room, wherever you are. Just show up in fullness right in front of you. And feel the presence. And see if you would be willing to let even more of the divine show up for you, to allow yourself to feel it even more. And allow yourself to feel whatever feeling there is. It may be love, it may be gratitude, it may be awestruck, it may be shame, it may be moving away, it may be tears. All of this is what needs to be healed for you to have a relationship with the divine. And so allow it to move through. And then imagine in this moment that you could receive from the divine exactly what you need in order to open a dialogue. So maybe you want to crawl up in the lap of the divine. You're allowed. You're so allowed. This is where you belong. You might want to sit up and have a conversation. You may want to lay back and imagine your head on the lap of the divine. Whatever feels good to you. So just decide how you'd like to engage in this interaction with the divine. Mm-hmm. Yeah, the divine is here for you. It's always here. It's always here. It never left. You just forgot. You forgot where to look. You forgot how to listen. You got scared of opening. And yet in any moment, you can return right to this space where all is so well, where you are infinitely loved and supported and held, where your every wish is waiting to be granted, where the deck is always being shuffled in your favor, just waiting for you to claim what is yours so the card can be played by the divine. And so as you let yourself be held and loved and comforted and supported, I'd like you to tune into a concern that you've been having, and it can be a big one. Something that you've been struggling with, a problem you've been trying to solve, something you've been wrestling with. Maybe it's finding your purpose. Maybe it's, a course that you've been trying to fill. Maybe it's a relationship that doesn't seem to be working. Maybe it's opening your heart when you think it's unopenable. There's nothing too big here. hard for me to talk through this. I get very emotional when grace shows up. It's so beautiful. So when you have decided what issue you would like to have healed today, imagine that you can take that issue and you can hand it over. You can hand the whole thing over to the divine, who is just waiting for you to surrender it. Notice any parts of you that are wanting to hang on. Notice any parts that are wanting to double check and make sure, did the divine get it all? Is it really going to handle it? We're so cute that way, aren't we? Having to check on the divine, who can't possibly be more competent than us, right? And then just notice, is there any more that you're willing to take away from your chest and put in the arms of the outstretched divine right in front of you? What would it feel like if you no longer had to worry about this thing? What if it wasn't up to you anymore? What if it never had been up to you? Yeah. Yeah, there it is. And then thank the divine. Thank the divine for being there to receive this, for knowing things that you will never know about it, for being willing to heal and bring grace to any and every situation in our life, from the smallest grievance, something as silly as planning a retreat at my home, to, us being in essence, right? Of healing any place where we are not fully in our essence. There is nothing too big or too small. Forgiving the unforgivable, even that, Source can do. It can transmute it in a blink of an eye. And not only can it, but it wants to. It wants to. It's waiting for us to call. It's waiting for us to let go, to surrender. And so just imagine the universe taking that gift or baggage that you turned over, moving it out of your space, freeing you up to more fully relax and let go. Now that you know you can trust, see if there's a new level of surrender you can reach in this moment. It almost feels like being rocked, rocked like a baby, just gently soothed and loved, a little bit like returning to the womb, which in a sense it is. And then if there is one question that you would like to ask the divine, be willing to do that now, and be willing to receive whatever answer it is with no attachment, right? So it's like, if I'm going to ask this question, I'm willing to put everything on the table so that any answer is possible. And I am willing to hear it and to know it and to bring it in, right? So just see, is there anything you would ask in this moment? And so I was asking right along with you. I was asking the divine, is there anything else you would have me do in this moment? And what I received is, I would have you speak of love. And of course, I'm a little bit like, really, love me? I don't know if that's my strong suit just yet. I'm working on that piece. So let me just see what it's not what I have to say. Let's see what Source has to say to you about love. Love is all. You are love, you are loved. There's nothing that isn't love, and there's nothing that isn't transmuted by love. And so in this moment, if you'd like, you can actually ask the divine to place a hand right on your heart and receive a healing in that space. You don't even have to know what it is. Just allow yourself to be healed directly by the divine. Breathe it in. Allow the grace to unfold. Yes, there is grace for you. Imagine the angels coming in to bathe you in shining golden bath of grace. Easing the tension in your brow, wiping it away. Allowing it to drip through your hair. Inviting you into even deeper surrender. As you feel how exquisitely you are held. And how you always have been. Feel every attention to detail being paid to your fingers, stroking your arms, caressing your womb, kissing your eyelids. Feel the unseen support that is always guiding you and always surrounding you and always wanting the best for you. And allow it to be so. And so, from this space, you can decide how you would like to close up the energetic. You can invite the angels and Source to walk with you through the rest of the day. You can keep hanging out here and being bathed in grace. They never get tired. Or you can decide to bow in gratitude and thank them for coming and bring yourself back to the present moment. Whatever serves, whatever serves you in this moment. And so I feel, let's just see, is there anything else Source would have me add? Yeah, I just got a nod. Thank you. And the Source said, thank you for surrendering. Thanks for letting me through. And so I'm trusting, right? And just for the record, there's everything in me, in my mind, that is like, this is so weird. I don't know if anybody's going to get this. I don't know where we're going with all of this. And also, I'm trusting that this means something to you, that Source had a plan, and I agreed to be the conduit and to be the servant. And so I'm willing to show up and do that, even if I feel like I might look like a fool or my ego might not like it. So I'm going to close our space with a poem that hangs right beside my desk. It's one of my favorites. And it just feels like a beautiful way to end our time together today. This is a poem by Hafiz, and it's called I Know the Way You Can Get. I know the way you can get when you have not had a drink of love. Your face hardens, your sweet muscles cramp. Children become concerned about a strange look that appears in your eyes, which even begins to worry your own mirror and nose. Squirrels and birds sense your sadness and call an important conference in a tall tree. They decide which secret code to chant to help your mind and soul. Even angels fear that brand of madness that arrays itself against the world and throws sharp stones and spears into the innocent and into one's self. Oh, I know the way you can get if you have not been drinking love. You might rip apart every sentence your friend and teachers say, looking for hidden clauses. You might weigh every word on a scale like a dead fish. You might pull out a ruler to measure from every angle in your darkness the beautiful dimensions of a heart you once trusted. I know the way you can get if you have not had a drink from love's hands. That is why all the great ones speak of the vital need to keep remembering God. So you will come to know and see him as being so playful and just wanting to help. That is why Hafiz says, bring your cup near me, for all I care about is quenching your thirst for freedom. All a sane man can ever care about is giving love. So I thank you. I thank you for listening, for being here in this space, and for your willingness to surrender and reconnect with all that is. Enjoy your day of grace and beauty and float as you will. Until next time, my loves. Bye, everyone.
We light a candle, our hearts awake. Illumination for God's sake. A revelation for God's sake. An inspiration for God's sake. Illumination for God's sake. For God's sake. For God's sake. For God's sake.